Hello dear students, as you all know we have done chapter number 5 now. Now we are going to start chapter number 6 and the chapter number 6 is electromagnetic induction. Basically in this chapter we will study how the current is being produced by changing magnetic field. Okay, and then after in chapter number 7 alternating current, how the alternating current is produced, what are the factors which are related to this, and then chapter number 8 we will study how the magnetic field is produced by changing electric field. Okay, so let us start this chapter, electromagnetic induction. And in this chapter basically the very first thing I want to tell you is magnetic flux, because magnetic flux is the quantity which is used very widely in this chapter. Without magnetic flux, without discussing, without naming that this quantity, we cannot move a step ahead in this chapter. In every topic magnetic flux is being included. So let us understand what is magnetic flux. Already we have studied what is electric flux. In the same manner, the magnetic flux quantity is studied. What is this magnetic flux? We studied about magnetic field lines, right? We studied about magnetic field lines. What are magnetic field lines? In the last chapter and the fourth chapter. Suppose this is a magnetic field B and a planar area is placed in the magnetic field. What is the amount of magnetic field that passes through its area? That very amount of magnetic field which passes through its area is called a magnetic flux. Suppose its area is A, then the direction of area vector is in this direction. All the magnetic field which is passing through this area will be given by B into A. This is called magnetic flux denoted by phi B. Phi B is equal to B into A. But what happens? So let me write here. Phi B is equal to B into A in this case. But suppose if magnetic field remains the same, okay, but the area which we are talking about, that area is a bit tilt. Area is not like this, area is like this. Is like this. Its magnitude is A only, but it is not like this, it is bit tilt like this. Now this area vector will be in this direction. Can we say that the same magnetic field lines are passing through this area also? We cannot, because if it is tilting a bit, it must be missing some of the magnetic field, right? Suppose this area is tilt, then it will become like this. And now this magnetic field line which was earlier passing through this area, now it will not be passing through this area. Definitely it will miss some of the magnetic field lines because it is tilt. Now what we'll do? We'll take the component of area along the magnetic field. Suppose this angle is theta, it will become A cos theta and perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now which component should be used for calculating magnetic flux? Earlier when the area vector was along the magnetic field, then what we have done? We have taken complete area. Basically here also the component of area which is along the magnetic field, that very component will be considered, and what we are going to have? We are going to have phi B is equal to B A cos theta, or we can write phi B is equal to B vector dot A vector. So this is the formula for magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is denoted by phi B and it is equal to B vector dot A vector. What will be its definition? Definition will be the magnetic field lines. The magnetic field lines. We should write the measure of magnetic field lines. Measure of magnetic field lines passing through a given area normally. Just see here the magnetic field lines are passing perpendicularly. Normally is called magnetic flux. This will be the definition. The measure of magnetic field lines passing through a given area normally is called magnetic flux. What will be its unit? What will be its unit? Unit will be Tesla meter square. Its unit is Tesla meter square, which is further given by 1 Weber. 1 Weber, right? WEB here, denoted by capital WB, 1 Weber. And one more unit is there, that is, this is your SI unit. One more unit, which is CGS. CGS unit is 1 Maxwell. 1 Maxwell, denoted by mx, and it is equal to 10 to the power minus 8 Weber. Just see, for Tesla we'll write Gauss, okay, and for meter square we'll write centimeter square. So when Tesla is converted into Gauss, it is 10 to the power 4. When meter square is converted into centimeter square, again 10 to the power 4, it will become 10 to the power 8. Basically 1 Tesla meter square is equal to 1 Weber is equal to 10 to the power 8 Maxwell. Okay, 10 to the power 8 Maxwell. These are the units of magnetic flux. Okay, and same all the things as we have done in the electric flux. The area is tilled, the area is curved, then we'll take the elementary flux, then we'll integrate it. Same goes with magnetic flux also. Okay, as we have done electrostatic, same goes with the magnetic flux also. But here it will not be very difficult to calculate magnetic flux. There it was a separate topic, how to calculate magnetic flux. Here it is not like that. Okay, you will be having very simple areas to calculate what is the magnetic flux through the surface. So this is how we calculate. Okay, phi b is equal to ba cos theta, or phi b is equal to b vector dot a vector. So this is what magnetic flux is. Okay, now let us move to our topic, which is called electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction, which is the name of the chapter. Here your chapter begins. Electromagnetic induction. What is electromagnetic induction? Let me explain with the help of experiments. Faraday discovered it. Michael Faraday. Okay, Faraday discovered electromagnetic induction. Okay, electromagnetic induction, short form EMI. So first of all, we'll understand what was Faraday's experiment. Faraday's experiment. Faraday discovered that through some experiments. So first of all, let us see what is their experiment. Then after I'll explain what was his discovery. Suppose a current loop is there, and a current loop is connected with a galvanometer, right? With a galvanometer. Galvanometer is a device which detects the current in the circuit, right? We have done moving coil galvanometer in chapter number 4. Okay. What has happened? What did the Faraday do? He put a coil there. Coil means simply a circular loop, okay, connected with a galvanometer, and he brings magnet towards the coil. He brings a magnet towards the coil. Then what he has observed, that there is a deflection in the galvanometer. Suppose deflection is this side. If he brings magnet towards the coil, he found that there is a deflection in the galvanometer. How that galvanometer deflects? Because there is no source of current. In this, no cell is there, nothing is there. Then also the galvanometer shows deflection. How it can show deflection? Because there is no source of current. Current should not be there, but again this galvanometer is showing deflection. Then Faraday, what he did, he make this magnet goes away from the loop. Then what he observed, in this case, galvanometer needle shows deflection, but it was now in this case the deflection is toward this side, but when the magnet is going away, the deflection becomes this side. Galvanometer is showing the deflection. It simply means that there is a current in the loop, and since the deflection comes opposite, when the magnet is coming towards the loop, the deflection is this side, and when the magnet is going away from the loop, deflection is this side. It simply means when we were bringing this magnet towards the loop, what we have observed, the current in the coil, maybe it is clockwise, but when the magnet is going away, the current is anti-clockwise. Why? Because there is an opposite deflection. So it was his discovery that when a magnet is brought near to the coil, then there is an induction of current in the coil. A current is induced in the coil. When a magnet is brought nearby the coil, then there is an induction of current, or there is induced current in the coil. But when we stop the magnet somewhere nearby it, then the induced current becomes zero. When the magnet keeps on moving, then only deflection was there. When the magnet stops somewhere, then deflection becomes zero. So this is what he had discovered. Okay, this is what he had discovered. Again, he has done an experiment. This time what he has done? Let this be the coil connected with a galvanometer, and here is a magnet. This time what he did? He keeps the magnet fixed and keep the loop moving away from the magnet, going towards the magnet. He makes the loop moving away from the magnet and then coming towards the magnet. He start moving this loop like this. What he has observed? Again the same thing. When the loop is going in this direction, then the deflection in this direction. Suppose in this direction. When the loop is going in this direction, deflection is in this direction. So what he has discovered, that whenever a distance between magnet and a loop changes, there is an induced current in the loop. Okay, but this phenomena was not, you can say, appropriate, because one experiment was there, and in this what has happened? A solenoid is there. Okay, on the solenoid, one wire is wound over here, connected to a cell and a key, and one wire is wound over here, connected with a galvanometer. There is no connection between this and this. But what we have observed, when we on this key, when we keep this key on, then there is a momentary deflection in the galvanometer. When we on this key, when we start flowing current in this solenoid, then we see there is a deflection in the galvanometer. Simply means there is no change in deflection, no change in distance as it was there previously, but here we have observed that there is a deflection in the galvanometer. One more experiment. Actually, he did lots of experiments. I am telling only those which are very, you can say, related to the topic. Okay, the failures we are not counting. With the experiment from which something is discovered, we are counting that only. Okay, next experiment what he has done. Suppose this is a magnetic field. This is a magnetic field, and in that one loop is there. This loop is connected to a galvanometer. Now what he did? He start rotating this loop. Okay, he start rotating this loop. Earlier the loop is rotated like this. Loop is rotated like this. There is no deflection in the galvanometer. But again the loop is rotated about its axis. Suppose this is the loop, it is rotated like this. Okay, it is rotated like this way. So when it is rotated like this, there is a deflection in the galvanometer. So from these experiments, what he has observed that there is something which induces current in the coil. What is that? Is it the distance between the coil and the magnet? No, it is not, because here no distance is varying. Here no distance is varying. The coil is well within the magnetic field. No, coil is traveling not a distance over here, coil is just rotating. It is not the distance. Is it the magnetic field alone? No, it is not, because here the magnetic field is constant. Then what is that? What is that which changes, and because of change in that quantity, current induces in the coil? That quantity is magnetic flux. That quantity is magnetic flux. Just see, when this magnet is brought near to the coil, then definitely there are some magnetic field lines of north pole which were crossing the loop. When this magnet comes nearby the loop, then what will happen? These magnetic field lines increases, indirectly magnetic flux increases. And when the magnetic flux increases, there is a current in the coil. When this magnet is going away, obviously these number of magnetic field lines decreases, which means magnetic flux decreases. Magnetic flux decreases, again current induces. When this magnet stops somewhere, the deflection becomes zero, because magnetic flux in that case will remain constant. Same goes with this experiment also. When the magnet is fixed, loop is moving away, then also the same thing happens. The magnetic field lines which is passing through the loop gets changes, and because of that gets changed, and because of that what happens? A current is induced. Here what happened? When the key was off, there is no current. When key on, suddenly a current starts flowing, and because of that current starts flowing, there is an induction of magnetic field in this core of the solenoid. This magnetic field passes through this also. So when this key on, then suddenly the magnetic field from 0 becomes something. Suppose the current is becoming from 0 to I, then magnetic field is also from 0 to B, some value of magnetic field B. When current becomes 0 to I, magnetic field becomes 0 to B. Here the magnetic field changes. The loop encloses an area, magnetic field through it changes, and because of that, galvanometer shows a momentary deflection, not a permanent deflection. In this case, when this is rotated, then what is changing? Phi B is equal to what? It is BA cos theta. Theta changes. Angle between magnetic field and the area vector changes, and because of that, phi B changes. Because of that, current induces. So what is electromagnetic induction? From here, if I ask you, what is electromagnetic induction? So when we define it, what we'll say? We'll say that when magnetic flux through a coil or closed circuit changes, then there is an induced EMF and hence an induced current in the coil. This phenomena is called EMI. What is EMI? Electromagnetic induction. What is that? When we say that when the magnetic flux through a coil or a closed circuit changes, then what happens? There is an induced EMF, and because of that induced EMF, there is an induced current in the circuit, and this phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. Okay, this phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. Okay, it comes out from Faraday's experiment. Is it clear? Now, how that electromagnetic induction, how we'll come to know that the electromagnetic induction is greater or smaller? So for that, Faraday gives some laws also. What we have called laws of electromagnetic induction. So next is laws of EMI. In other words, it is called Faraday's law. Okay, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. What is that? First law. Okay. From the basis of experiment, he has deduced these laws. What are the laws? Let us understand. The first law is when the magnetic flux through a closed circuit changes an induced EMF or we should write an EMF, and hence a current is induced which lasts till the change in magnetic flux is taking place. Okay? When the magnetic flux through a closed circuit changes an EMF and hence a current is induced, which last means which exists till the change in magnetic flux is taking place. If the change in magnetic flux stops because of suppose the motion of magnet stops, motion of loop stops, or for anything, if the magnetic flux is not changing, then the current will not be induced. It will be induced till the time the change in magnetic flux is taking place. If this stops, flux becomes constant, flux becomes zero, or anything. Means if flux becomes constant or flux becomes zero. In that case, current induced will be stopped and it will be zero. Right? This is the first law. What is the second law? Second law, he states that the magnitude of induced EMF, is directly proportional to change in magnetic, directly proportional to not change, rate of change. It should be not change, it should be rate of change. Directly proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. Okay, that is EMF is equal to d phi b by dt. Although I have written equal to, but in the statement it is directly proportional. Further, when we put dimensions, it will become equal, and that's why there is no constant. Okay, dimensionally taking SI units, the constant becomes 1. So magnitude of EMF is equal to d phi b by dt. What does that mean? What does that mean? It simply means that the change in magnetic flux taking per second will decide how much the EMF is induced, and because of that, how much the current is flowing in the circuit. d phi b by dt, change in magnetic flux upon time. What does it tell? It tells the change in magnetic flux per unit time, and it decides what is the amount of EMF induced. Suppose this is a coil and this is connected to a galvanometer. Okay, here is a magnet. What we have seen that if this magnet comes nearby the coil at a faster rate with greater speed, then galvanometer shows a larger deflection. When it comes very slowly, galvanometer shows a very small deflection. From here we conclude that EMF induced is directly proportional to what? d phi b by dt. Or if this is the magnetic field, obviously it is crossed, the magnetic field is perpendicular inward, and a coil is rotated in this plane. if this coil is rotated at a faster rate, what we have observed, that EMF is greater. If it is rotated by a smaller rate, we observed that EMF is smaller. Basically, the EMF induced is directly proportional to d phi by dt. But I am trying to tell you a very important thing. Faraday says the magnitude of induced EMF. Why does he says magnitude of induced EMF? Because we observed that when the magnet is brought near by the coil, the galvanometer deflection shows this side. When the magnet moves away from the coil, deflection goes this side. So why this change in deflection is there? Why the EMF changes? Why the direction of EMF, or you can say the direction of current changes? Faraday did not able to find that the reason behind the changing in direction. Further, it was explained by Lenz. So we studied it in Lenz law. It is the part of laws of EMI. Lenz law. What is Lenz law? Lenz law states that the direction of current will be in such a way that it opposes the cause which produces it. And what is the thing that produces the induced EMF? Change in magnetic flux. Lenz states that the direction of induced EMF, the direction of induced EMF is in such a way that it opposes the cause which produces it, that is change in magnetic flux, and that is why you put a minus sign over there. E is equal to minus d phi v by dt. What does it mean? Let us understand this. This is the, you can say, soul of this chapter. This particular thing, E is equal to minus d phi v by dt, and this is statement first and this. These are the soul of this chapter. Okay, without these two statements, this chapter cannot be understood. Okay, let us understand what does it mean. And for that, let us assume that this is a loop, right? And let this loop be connected with a galvanometer. What does it mean? Let us understand. This is a loop, no source of current is there. Suppose this is a magnet. This is a magnet, right? This is a magnet. This end is the north end and this end is the south end. South end is facing towards you and north is facing towards this. When we bring this magnet nearby the loop, when we are bringing magnet nearby the loop, then what is happening over here? The magnetic flux which is passing through the loop, let us have a side view also. This is the loop. This is the galvanometer connected and a magnet. North pole is bringing towards the magnet. Then what is happening? What is exactly happening? The magnetic field which is passing through the loop increases. Magnetic field which is passing through the loop increases. What is the direction of magnetic field which is increasing by the loop? Direction of magnetic field is somewhere like this. It is not uniform. Magnetic field is not uniform, not at all. But when we bring the magnet nearby the coil, then what is happening? This magnetic field increases. And phi b is equal to what we have learned? We have learned BA cos theta. B is increasing. B is increasing. When B is increasing, obviously that phi b is increasing. Then Lenz law suggests that the direction of current is in such a way that it opposes the cause which produces it. What is the cause over here? This magnetic field is increasing. The current will be in this loop is in such a way that this increase in the current should be opposed. And for that, a magnetic field will be induced by the current, which is obviously an induced current. What I'm trying, the magnetic field of the current induced will be opposite to this direction. Will be opposite to this direction, so that it can oppose the magnetic field which is increasing. Once again the whole thing. When the magnet is brought nearby the loop, this magnetic field which is threading through the loop will be increased. And when magnetic field increases, phi b increases. Direction of induced EMF or induced current in such a way that it opposes the cause which produces it. What is the cause? Cause is change in magnetic flux which is going inside the loop. The direction of induced current is in such a way that the magnetic field of that induced current opposes this increase of magnetic field. And what should be that direction? Direction of the magnetic field which is of the induced current should be opposite to this. And when the magnetic field is this, current should be this. Direction of current should be this. The current which is induced should be this way, so that the magnetic field of the current is outside and the magnetic field which is already present because of this magnet which is inside. Now what will happen? When this current is induced, its magnetic field opposes the increase in magnetic field. The same thing. Okay? If this magnet is going away, suppose if it is going away, then what will happen? Obviously, the magnetic flux passing through the loop decreases. Suppose this is the loop, magnetic field is still in this direction, but now what is happening? This magnetic field is decreasing. Why? Because the magnet is going away. When this magnetic field starts decreasing, then what will happen? The current will be induced in such a manner that magnetic field of that current should support this magnetic field, so that the decrease in the magnetic field is compensated. So now the direction of magnetic field of the current should be in this direction only, so that it supports the original magnetic field which is decreasing. Then magnetic field should be in this direction, and in this case the current will be clockwise. When the magnet is moving towards, magnetic field is increasing, it has to be opposed. The magnetic field of the current should be in this direction, current should be in this direction. When magnetic field is going away, this magnetic field is decreasing. For supporting this, magnetic field should be in this direction and current should be this direction. As you can see, when the magnet is bringing nearby the coil, the current is in anti-clockwise. When the magnetic field, the magnet is moving away from the coil, it becomes clockwise. One more logic. When the north pole is brought near to it, it becomes anti-clockwise, and for anti-clockwise, this loop behaves as a north face. When the magnet is brought away from the coil, this becomes south face, and south face becomes what? This becomes clockwise, and clockwise becomes what? South face. Which end of the magnet you were bringing in north pole. When it is bringing nearby the coil, it develops a north face so that it opposes the north pole of this magnet. When it is going away from the coil, it develops south pole. Okay? It develops south pole. It develops south pole so that it can bring this, it attracts this north pole. When the magnet was going in, it develops north pole to repel this. When the magnet was when the magnet was going away, it develops south pole to attract. When the magnet is going nearby it, it repels it. Okay, it makes it goes away. And when the magnet is going away, it brings the magnet nearby it. This is how the things works. Okay, so this EMF induced is equal to minus d phi b by dt. Okay, so this is all about Lenz law. We'll discuss some more examples in the next lecture. One homework I am giving you. The charges were already there in the loop, but they start moving in a particular direction. It's simply for the current, they start moving in a particular direction. They needs energy. From where this energy comes, this is a homework. From where this energy comes, so that the charges are moving in a particular direction. This is your homework. This is your Lenz law. Okay. So this is all for the day. We are moving. We are going to do the next thing in the next video lecture. So many things are there in the Lenz law and so many rules I have to tell about the Lenz law. But what are the things we have done today? Just think about those things. Okay, which are very important. If this chapter becomes clear, the next chapter AC will be also clear. If in this chapter you are struggling, then in the chapter AC you will also struggle. Okay, so this is all for the day. Thank you.